Have you heard of the 2008 video game Fracture? Odds are you haven't, which is exactly why I decided to make it into a fanfiction. Or rather, two fanfictions: Fracture Reunification under the Atlantic and Fracture Reunification under the Pacific. This was probably the most challenging set of stories I've ever had to write, simply because I had very, very little material to work with. The original games didn't have much of a plot other than, the Atlantic likes, I'm sorry, I got the two confused. One of them, oh yeah, the Atlantic likes technology, the Pacific likes the human genome. So I went ahead and tried to expand on that as best I could by going into the philosophical differences between the genome and the technology sides and how they would be different. I also completely rewrote the protagonist, Jet Brody, because he was basically nothing to speak of in the original game. And now he's like really pro-Atlantic, and he ends up having an important role in both stories. I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. Both of these stories are fairly short. I will say, however, that just like with the Haze stories I wrote, I really love rescuing stories with wasted potential. Like, I don't think Fracture had that much potential, but that to me was kind of the why I wrote it. I was kind of making a point. Even the silliest and stupidest premises, if executed well, can be good. Now, whether or not I executed these two stories well is up to you. Obviously, as always, I'll leave the links in the descriptions, but I think I did a decent job of expanding on the lore of a game that was never really intended to have any lore to begin with. This was also the first time that there was no section available on fanfiction.net for the story, so I had to shove it in miscellaneous games. And on Archive of Our Own, I had to create an entirely new category for Fracture the video game. I had fun with this. It gives me the impression of being like a pioneer or a trailblazer. And these two stories, I'm proud of them because they really were difficult to get out. And that's one of the reasons why they're not longer than they are. I kind of struggled to get to about 1,500 words each as it is.